My friends call me Shep. My old friends call me Shep Dog. Now, the reason I'm doing this video is because this is something I've been thinking about doing for some time, and I just kept putting it off. And then the reasons for doing it kind of outgrew the reasons to not do it. So here I am. One of the reasons I wanted to do this is I wanted to start a different conversation, because the conversation that's taking place now is about you know who, about Trump, about the government, about the police department, about slavery. Those are the main topics of discussion. Religion, education, what the young people doing, what the young people not doing. And basically all I'm hearing is just a lot of complaining. Now what I'm not hearing is what we need to do. Whenever I'm involved in a conversation about anything, the person I'm talking to is usually referencing the reason of their problem to somebody else. No one ever takes the responsibility themselves. It's always somebody else's fault. Now, there are some things I'm sure that you can possibly blame on others, but for the most part, you can decide if you want to deal with a situation or not deal with a situation. You can decide if you want to deal with an individual or not deal with an individual. Now, I think what we need to do, and don't misunderstand me, I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do, but it would be very refreshing if we had a new conversation. If we all can become involved in some real serious dialogue on where we need to go and what we need to do now. You know, we see what's happening around us. We see what's taking place. And we're going to have to deal with it for the next 4 years. Possibly 8. I say possibly 8 because if they stole it this time, they can probably steal it the next time. Or if they can, influence the outcome this time, they can probably influence the outcome next time. So, with that being said, I will tell you just how I did it. Because I'm not really concerned about who's president. I'm not concerned about what the government's going to do. I'm not concerned about too much anything other than myself and my family and, a few friends, those that I consider real friends, because there's not too much else I can influence, I don't think. But what I would like to share with those that are watching these videos is this. I changed myself. It took a long time, but I did it. I used to be one of those individuals that the old people would describe as being off the chain. Literally. And a lot of people would be surprised to hear my story. But I'm willing to share it. And I even run the risk of it causing me some problems, because there's a lot of things that people just don't know about me. But as I've gotten older, I have seen a lot of people that I've grown up with, a lot of my friends, a lot of my associates, a lot of people that I just knew about. Just pass on. And I don't want that to happen to me without people really knowing who I am. And there's a lot of people that don't know anything about me. They just know my name. They knew that I grew up in town in Alexandria, but they don't really know me. And a lot of these people that don't know me are part of my family. And I think that's ridiculous. So this video is an attempt to change that, because when I'm laying in that box, if I'm laying in a box, I want people to be able to, say, well, at least I knew a little bit of something about him, because he explained himself before he passed on. So with that, I'm going to end this video, because I don't want it to be too long. But there are some people I would like to thank who are responsible for, the person I am, I think. First is my mother, who I love dearly. My mother, man, is like the strongest. She's the strongest woman that I know. I mean, the things that she had to deal with just to raise her kids, the sacrifices she made. And I'm sure other mothers have done the same thing, but I can only speak on mine because she's my experience. For me, she had to be mother and father, because I never met my dad. And that's another story in itself. And that affected me for a long, long, long time. And it had a lot to do with the way I came across to others. And a lot of people don't understand that. They don't know what it's like to not have no knowledge of your father. It's one thing to know your father and not have a relationship, but to not know anything about your dad is a totally different matter. But my mom, she dealt with it, man. She dealt with it, and she stayed right there and took it all. And she saw us through it. She still has all her children. She's the only one of her siblings that's left. And she's the only one of her siblings that hasn't lost any of her children. I love you, Mom. And I just hope and pray that, well, let's say I hope, because I'm not into the praying thing too much, because I've done enough of that, I haven't really seen any results from that. I've seen more results from action than I've seen from prayer. And I just hope that I can one day do something really, really special for you before you pass on. The other person I'd like to thank is Mr. Anthony Robbins. I would actually like to sit down in front of him and just shake his hand, because he really has no idea how much he's helped me. And then maybe he does, because he's helped a lot of people. I followed this man's career from the very beginning, and I listened to his tapes and read his books, and what I was looking for was not necessarily success or a way to make a lot of money, because I really wasn't interested in that. And I'm still not. I mean, money's good, and I would like to have more of it, but it's not my primary focus. I'm not attached to money in that way, because all I'm going to do with it is probably give it away, or share it. I'm going to keep what I need, but, I'm not going to hoard it, and I'm not going to focus a lot of attention on it. But Anthony gave me some clarity. He gave me some information that helped me to become consistent, to get focused, and to get myself back on track. And that's major. And he's a big shoe now, man. He's big time. I think he's one of the best motivational speakers out there. And even back when I started following him, there were others, but he seemed to be the one that was the most honest and the one that was the most consistent. And he just happened to be the one that I chose. So thank you, Mr. Robbins, if I never get a chance to meet you personally. Another person I would like to thank is Mr. Russell Simmons. Now, I never met this guy. Don't know a whole lot about him. I just know that he's a very successful young black man, But I read one of his books, and one of his books that I read introduced me to meditation. And I had heard a lot about meditation, but I didn't really, decide to look into it until after reading Russell's book. And I studied it, and I embraced it, and it's something I do every day. And it helps me. It helps me to clear my head and to get my day started. So thank you, Mr. Simmons, if I never get a chance to meet you. Another individual I will say thank you to is a person that I actually met. I had to sit down with this man. He won't remember me, but the words he spoke to me in the time that we talked was life-changing. I mean, it touched me to the core, and it literally changed my life. I left there. I left that conversation with him an enlightened man. And not too many people have had that effect on me, but he did. I was at the bottom, and he gave me enough inspiration to realize that my situation could, would, should, and will change. And I will be forever indebted to this guy and thankful to this guy for sharing those words with me. And he is Mr. Dick Gregory. So thank you, Mr. Gregory. Another person that I can't leave out that I should have mentioned earlier was my grandfather, who is no longer with us, but he was the first man that ever came into my life, and he was gigantic. His impact on me is something that I feel right now. He put on display, which was a complicated blend of masculinity, love, caring, protection, manhood, all of that I got from him. And then he realized what being a man was all about until after he passed. And I didn't get a chance to just, say thank you, Gran. Thank you, Pops, for what you did for me. So, with that, I didn't mean to go on this long, but with that, I'm going to say I'm out. Look out for the next video, because in that one, I'm going to show you how I implemented all that I got from those people and how it actually changed my life, in the hopes that by sharing, I'm giving something back. And maybe, a young person or anybody for that matter can gain a little something from this and move on. So peace and love, man. That's it. I'm out. See you next video. Peace.